Today I was going to talk a little bit about obligation and a lack of obligation. So by obligation I mean something that it's necessary or a good idea to do. Should. Here's one way of talking about obligation. Firstly, the first way that I was going to talk about it is with had better. Had better. So we had better close the bathroom window because it's going to rain and I don't want the floor to get wet. We'd better. We had better, we'd better. Okay, contract it, we'd better. Okay. We'd better close the window, it's going to rain. Also have had better not. Okay, so you'd better not ask the boss for a pay rise because he's in a really bad mood today. You'd better not ask the boss for a pay rise because he's in a really bad mood today. You had better not, you'd better not. Okay. A third way of talking about obligation, the most common way, the most useful way in fact, is with should. Okay, so I should eat more fruit, I should do more exercise. Yeah. Should. Can't contract should for obligation. So I can't say, I can't say it, so I won't. And the next way of talking about obligation is with ought to. I ought to phone my mother at the weekend because it's important to stay in touch. Ought to. And again, you can't contract ought. Okay. The difference between ought to and should is that we have to use the to with ought and we don't use to with should. So I should phone my mother, I ought to phone my mother. Okay, so that's ought to. Two more to go, which are don't have to and don't need to. So this is a lack of obligation, a lack of something being necessary. You don't have to return the library book until next week because it's due to be returned next week. Okay, you don't have to. You don't need to. You don't need to brush your teeth 7 times a day. Okay, 3 times is sufficient for most people. Okay, it's a matter of opinion. So you don't need to. A lack of necessity. Do not need to would only be used to stress, to add emphasis to something. So don't need to is a normal way of saying it. Do not need to is the emphasized way. You do not need to pay for drinks. I will pay. Okay. So had better not, should, ought to, don't have to, and don't need to. Okay. Bye bye.